Hi, welcome to my channel and of course welcome to your reading. If you're new, just keeping in mind that this is a collective reading, so take what resonates and leave whatever doesn't for whoever it's meant for. And let's get started. I'm not quite sure what's going to come through today, but I was sort of pushed or given a sharp nudge to sit down and do a reading, so I feel like whatever is going to come through is important for someone or someone's. Okay, so let's see. We've got the Nine of Swords and the Four of Cups, that being the energy of this reading. Okay, so with the Four of Cups, we can always, not always, but in most cases, and at least in the case of this reading, there is something that is being held onto. They're giving me the word hoarded, and not necessarily in the sense with regards to material things, right? We can hoard emotions as well. We can hold onto things so tightly that we forget that there is another way, right? And with this Nine of Swords, it's something, usually there's only one card that pops out for the energy of the reading. But when there's two, what that tells me is that they are working in conjunction, right? So there is this fear that we're seeing that's coming through in the Nine of Swords that is causing the effect of holding on to something else, right? And it is quite clear that this is very much they're referring to emotions. So I guess the message initially for this reading is, have you been paying close enough attention to your emotions and what they're actually telling you? Okay, let's see. Let's go with, actually, okay, let me just stick to the tarot. Okay, that's pretty interesting. We've got the Eight of Cups and the Nine of Cups, the Seven of Swords, the Seven of Wands, the Temperance, and the Two of Pentacles. Okay, so I mean, it's very interesting that we have this energy of holding on, right? And then straight after that, we have this journey, right? In the Eight of Cups, the character is finally ready to leave behind that which no longer serves him, that which is no longer resonant. People, places, things, it's emotions, habits. It will be different for everyone, but essentially this is the step past letting go, right? He's let go, but now he has actually taken that step. He is beginning his journey into this new great unknown, without fear. And we see up there's the sun and the moon, and for me that's very relevant. Is it there is no time, there is no perfect time to start this journey. The time is always right. It's just the taking the step. It's the releasing of fear, or the moving past the fear, the acknowledging the fear and understanding exactly why it's there, because fear serves us. Fear serves a purpose. Which is partially the problem when we let our fears run rampant. That purpose that they usually serves can become a hindrance. Okay, so we see that the step is taken, right? The fear is released, and all that else, whatever else was needing to be released is, and going into the Nine. There've been a lot of 9 and 10 of Cups in this collective's reading, and I feel very I'm silly saying this all the time, but the Nine of Cups is really one of my favorite cards in the tarot deck. It is, that moment of knowing that everything is coming and happiness is like everything. It's not even about happiness. It's just that all the pieces have fallen into place. That moment just before where you can kind of sit and watch it come. So there is a sense of peace in the Nine of Cups, in that ending, right? Going into the 10, which is... So what this is telling me that within this collective, there is movement. There is movement, right? I'm actually going to do it like this. And, okay. Movement and new beginnings. I'm going to come into this, but it's also about balance. So there is something is coming into balance, right? Something is coming into balance, and bringing my attention here to this figure who is busy balancing his own obstacles or what he deems to be the things that he needs to bring into balance, while behind him there are two ships, right, that to us, the viewer, seemingly could be about to crash into each other. And this man is completely unaware of what is taking place behind him. So what they're bringing my attention to the fact that the ships will not crash at the back here. Like regardless of where we are at, if we're slightly out of alignment or slightly out of balance, that's not to say that everything around us is now out of balance. Yes, in some cases, yes, our thoughts and our feelings are what create our reality, but we are also divinely supported. So there is another layer to or many layers to our reality that we are incapable of seeing. As this is for the Mothers Collective, I'm sure that many of you have experienced your children talking to, having imaginary friends or seeing things that aren't there, or they see or are more connected to some of those layers, right, that we have been conditioned out of. It's kind of like Peter Pan and Never Land. We've kind of grown up. And of course, a lot of people, there are some that are able to see these layers. So I can't say that nobody can. But anyway, coming back to the reading, there are things that are coming into balance, things that are working. Everything is always working out in your favor, as I always say, as everyone, a lot of people say. This is just a reminder. But these ships, the figure doesn't need to worry about them, right? There is a part of him that knows intrinsically that everything is working out, that things will come into balance regardless, that there is divine intervention. And then we have the Temperance. So things are coming into balance. You just need to trust. Just because you cannot see it does not mean that it is not taking place, does not mean that it is not occurring. In the same breath, when something doesn't look the way we expected it to, right, there's a tendency to drop one's vibration because we had an expectation. Just because something doesn't look the way we think it should look does not mean that it is not exactly perfect. And perfect in order for you to get that thing you want, or experience that you desire to experience. So there is very much something that needs to shift in the mind, a perspective that allows you to trust that things really are working out for you, that things are coming into balance. And this is a time of endings and beginnings. With this Ace of Pentacles going into the Three of Pentacles, going into the Six of Cups. Okay, so just shift that. So with the Six of Cups, this is very much about giving and receiving. Balance, things equaling out. What we give, we get back. But the reminder is always not to give with expectation. And with with this three of Pentacles, there is also a sense of, you know, community, of sharing, of connecting, of reaching out. I'm gonna pull some clarifiers on this after I've spoken about these, just to get a better picture about that, because I'm just being told that there's a little bit more with these Pentacles. Okay, so coming in to the Seven of Wands and the Seven of Swords. So we've got 7 and 7. So if you've been seeing a lot of sevens around, then that's possibly a sign that this reading is for you. Okay, so what I always find so interesting with the Rider-Waite, this is Pamela C. Smith, something like that, who did the illustrations. But I find it, with this particular drawing and his face, it's hard to tell if he is fearful or defensive. And at the beginning of this reading, I said that there's an indication to pay attention to your feelings, because something seems to be running a bit rampant, running a bit wild. It's the energy that they're giving me, like the image that they're giving me is, what is it called? A Catherine wheel? It's a firework. I don't know, something I haven't seen for many years from my childhood, but it was this like circle thing that you would almost have to like nail to a tree, and you would light the wick, and obviously it wasn't very loud, but it used to spin as like some colors and stuff came off. And sometimes it wasn't like pegged in well enough, it would, as it was spinning, it would spin off and run rampant. And that is the image that they gave me, which is to say that there is something that something is running unchecked. An emotion, a thought pattern, a perspective, something is running slightly unchecked. And possibly, that's very strange. My computer now has this funny new screensaver with a bubble that pops up with a thumb pointing downwards. Never seen that before. It's not very encouraging while giving a reading. Anyway, I just found that quite amusing. But it is, I think that's also quite relevant. Is there is something that is going unchecked. Something that is going unchecked, and it is possibly allowing you to stay in this state of fear because you are. So fear allows us to protect ourselves, but it also kind of has a way of keeping us in place. Of sticking our feet exactly where they're planted, and closing our eyes or locking ourselves in a cupboard. There is this, or pulling the duvet over your head. There is this sense of hiding away in times of extreme fear. Whether this is physically hiding or or emotionally hiding, because we can do that as well. People become defensive or passive aggressive, or there are ways that we hide. And that is not always, I can't say it's not always, in most cases, or in my experience, my personal experience, it is not the healthiest way to deal with anything, but especially fear and emotions. Things have to go somewhere. We need to acknowledge them in order to heal them, and that is often difficult. But there is something going unchecked, and it has put some of you in a very defensive yet attacking a position where you're not sure, and there is this, this taking things with you, leaving things behind. So there is this opportunity. They're saying that there is this opportunity to change perspectives, to choose what you take with you, to choose what you leave behind, to choose to leave it all behind. There is no right or wrong. What there is should one, let's say, for example, choose to leave everything behind or take everything with, but do so coming from a place of what is the word? Not even strength, but just knowing, right? Of trust. What that does is allows that person to take that step, knowing that no matter what they step into or what is next presented to them, it will be what is right for them. When we trust, we're less likely to be concerned with what is behind us, less likely to second guess our decisions. There's something called buyer's remorse, especially I think with when I was studying marketing and all of that. I remember one of our lecturers discussing this topic quite in depth with relation to cars, and but essentially it's something with big purchases, big things that we haven't either invested time, and a lot of times it's where we've invested time, researching. It's not a decision we've taken lightly from the get-go. It's something that has held our focus for quite some time, and then we get to a point where, okay, either the decision is easy, or it's it's a hit or miss. We know it could go either which way, and we take the plunge and we make the purchase, and it tends to be a day or two later where guilt or something creeps in to make said person start to question this purchase, this very, very expensive purchase, this purchase that maybe a loan had to be taken out for, or where work has been required. It wasn't an easy purchase in some cases, and then there is this guilt and this remorse, and what happens is that person can no longer find joy or often just enjoy whatever they have purchased, right? Because it's become bittersweet or tainted, and that is a perspective. So yes, there is this sense of don't second guess your decisions. Like, trust that what you have decided in the moment was the best that you could do in that moment. Know that you are supported in all that you do, and that everything is working out for you, so that whatever comes next, no matter what it is, good, bad, neutral, it is the next sort of, not even a stepping stone, because it's how everything is connected, we do not know, but there is a friend of mine always tells me this Alan Watts story about where this man has a son and something happens and the neighbors go, oh no, and oh, you're so unlucky, and the man responds with, yeah, we shall see. And then something else happens and the neighbors and everybody says, and he goes, oh, we shall see. And then it ends up with he breaks his leg, but as a result doesn't get conscripted to war. And they say again, oh, you're so lucky. And even then he goes, oh, we shall see. So it's to say that nothing is good or bad, everything is neutral, everything just simply is. All we need to do is trust and know and go. Step forward, take the step, and release the fears. So coming back to this card, okay, so awakening. So there is definitely this sense of community. Okay, King of Cups, the Star, and the Eight of Wands. So let's start with these two, the Awakening, because there's a moon there, and I feel like that is relevant, right? The Star and the moon. What we see here, in the Star, the cup, her cup is so full that she is giving back. And giving back can be done in many ways. And, there is, like we said with the Six of Cups, this giving and receiving, this sharing, this sense of building community, collaboration, equal exchange is what they keep pinging to me. So there is stuff happening, right? Upgrades, self-work, shadow work. We're all at different stages in our journey. But with this Eight of Cups, right? This step, this choice to release and go forward. That very act, however it is manifesting in your reality, that very act of taking the step or choosing to release, or taking the time to find what needs to be released or what needs to be let go. Any act that you are choosing to do for your betterment, right? For your growth, says to the universe that you are open, says to the universe that you are now ready to receive all that is available to you. And when we send that message to the universe responds accordingly. And so much so that often we have so much left over that we can give back, right? We can give back to our community, to people, similar like people, and that can be done in conversations, in comments, in compassion, right? The spiritual journey is a beautiful one, but it is often a lonely one, and sometimes a difficult one. And with the King of Cups, we are reminded to always come back to self. Pause, take a breath, an intentional breath, in moments of doubt, in moments where thoughts are creeping in. Another thing I remember watching in a video, I think it was an Abraham Hicks video, but it's something I've stumbled across in various other places, which is when you have a thought that is out of alignment or that is dark, because we all do have dark thoughts where we're like, where did that come from? You have a choice to attach to it or simply acknowledge it and allow it to pass. But should you find yourself possibly entertaining an undesirable thought, or a thought that makes you uncomfortable, you have about 17 seconds before that you attach fully to that thought, and it can shift or alter your vibration. Having said that, another interesting video that I stumbled across was something about humming. When you find that your mind is racing, hum out loud or works best, but hum it. Test it out. Your brain literally stops thinking. It's like there's some connection between the movement of the lips, or the vibration or something that actually just shuts off the brain. So yeah, you might find that useful, but there is this come back to self, right? And reach out, with this awakening card, when this card pops up, there's a new way of being. You are learning, you are remembering, I think would be the right word. You are remembering to be a beer instead of a doer. And that means finding spaces and places and people that make you feel good. Conversations or music, just things that make you feel good. Right? Without being concerned about what others think, without being concerned about judgment. There is this. Okay. There is this reminder to be oneself, whoever that is, to take the time to get to know yourself and all that you are. For me, in this particular deck of the Rider-Waite, this card, the Nine of Pentacles, but just because she's like a geisha, and for me, she's completely out of the characters, the other characters in the figures. There's just something different about it to me from my perspective, and I place it as something out of the ordinary. Something is being discovered in this ending. So there is this sense of many of you are taking the time to get to know yourself, to be more attuned to what is taking place physically, mentally, or emotionally. And okay, sorry, they're just saying, yeah. This is a time of endings and beginnings. But more so than that, this is a time for allowing, right? Allowing the abundance that is waiting for you to come in. The message is trust the universe. Trust that everything is always working out for you. That this is where you're coming into the space of being able to sit back, knowing and trusting that everything is always as it should be. And while we know that, we don't quite, it's very difficult to know it within. And for me, that is what the Nine of Cups represents, is the knowing, not the knowing. Okay, have a beautiful now, and see you next time. Bye-bye.